Hey everyone in the house. We've already got Merv here, and it's very late at night, so we'll see how many jump onto this one. Our first ever extra time post-match phone-in show here on the channel, and me, Dazzling Dave, with my co-host from the Always Wolves podcast, Amy. Good evening, Amy.
Hello. Yes.
How are you? We've already got 43 viewers watching at the moment as well.
Fantastic. You're obviously all night owls.
hardcore viewers, and we've, as I say, we've already got 4 people backstage. If you want to get onto this this extra time phone in, what you need to do is message the Always Wolves Facebook book for details to get on the show, and the producer will send the details across. So, Amy, before we get to the guests, how are you feeling about that?
I don't even know. I feel a bit numb by it, to be honest, because I don't think we definitely didn't deserve to lose, and I don't think it was really a negative performance. I don't really know what happened. They had one play of the ball in the second half and scored it, and that was that. And we just, didn't score. But I don't think we didn't play badly, so I'm a bit flummoxed, really. I feel a bit numb. What about yourself?
I feel flat. I've got to say, I feel a little bit flat. I felt we had more shots. I'm just looking at the stats at the moment. Wolves 55% to 53% to 47% possession, 13 shots to Everton's 5. But again, 3 shots on target. Everton 3 shots on target. They scored 2. We scored that one great goal, and we've lost the game again. And it just seems to we seem to have fizzled out. So, you ready to get our first guest on?
Yes.
So let's see who's first in the queue, and that's going to be a young man all the way from Ontario, Canada. Just going to change the backdrop to get him on. And this will be Aiden Purcell. Here he is. Welcome to the show, Aiden. How are you?
Hey guys, I was better about 3 hours ago. I was better, I think, but I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you guys doing?
Mate,
I was myself better 3 hours ago.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, you're probably familiar to Aiden. He often contributes to the international fan reaction, which will be out to tomorrow. Aiden, if you can sum up in one sentence your feelings about that game, what would you say it would be?
I mean, it was really the story of the season in 90 minutes, wasn't it? It's I feel a lot like you guys feel. I feel flat. I feel numb, expected almost. So I guess my one sentence would be story of the season. Yeah.
Gary Putney is putting a little thing out there saying worst forward line in the league by far by now. That's a bit harsh, do we think?
Oh, I mean, what is our forward line? I mean, at the beginning of the match tonight, Silva obviously should be your main man up front, and immediately he's dropping deep to receive the ball within the first 2 minutes of the match. You can see that our formation really shifted from when we had the ball and when we didn't have the ball. So I don't know if it's really fair. Like I'm a pretty harsh critic on Silva. I think that I don't think that he's shown me too much so far. I've been pretty vocal about that in the fan reactions, but I don't necessarily blame him tonight. I just thought that much like the rest of the season, 2/3 of the pitch, we looked solid for, most of the match. As soon as the ball starts moving forward, you got Neto buzzing around, you got some runs being made, it looks like we've got a little bit of bite to us offensively, and then it just stops and there's nothing. You mentioned the stats there, Dave, that we had 13 shots. Sure, that's great. How many of those were actual clear scoring chances, and how much are we actually developing? And I'm not just going to settle on saying, well, we're getting more shots, we're getting more opportunities. It needs to be finished. These are Premier League footballers at the end of the day, right? I mean, Silva is, yes, he's a kid, but he was a 35 million pound kid. So at some point, he's going to have to start taking these chances and start looking a little bit more incisive. Just as you can probably tell from the tone of my voice, just frustrated with how everything's going. It seems like we've got all the pieces in play, and then nothing comes of it, much like the play on the pitch.
So, Amy and Aiden, who would you say your Wolves man of the match would be? And Aiden, what would you rating at the performance be?
Wolves man of the match. I think I did enjoy watching Neves play tonight. And I do think in the first half, I think he had a very good first half, which is nice to see. And I think Gibbs White came back and he's got quite a lot to prove to a lot of fans and to himself, I think, as well. And he's really got to prove himself. He's had a chance to come back, which I don't think anyone maybe necessarily expected him to come back. And I do think he was quite creative with the ball. I think he made a lot of good movement in the middle of the field, and he allowed, especially, Dendoncker, I think, had a really good. Dendoncker's probably my Wolves man of the match, I think. But I think the way that Gibbs White and Dendoncker played together in the middle of the park, I think it worked really well. But then the second half, I think for both teams, it was, tuned in at half time to your thing, Dave, and both teams were very competitive. It was very end to end. They allowed each other to play well, and it was a really good game to watch. But then it seemed completely different in the second half for both clubs, I think. And I think, I agree with a lot of the points that Aiden has made. It's just frustrating, I think, as fans to know what's going to happen next, because so many players are getting injured. Adama is now on the injury list as well. And it just seems to be another story of the season that they seem to start settling. I thought the game against Palace, they seemed a lot more settled. They seemed a lot more in control. And then obviously something has happened with Adama and he's being taken out of the situation. And it's that learning again now. And it's learning to play new players together in a new style with players that have come back. And it's just, again, not gelling. And it is frustrating to watch because they're not playing bad football. It's just lackluster. Just lackluster at the moment, I think.
And Aiden, your man of the match. Before we obviously we go and let the next person on, and a summary and your expectations for the weekend coming up.
I don't know if my heart can take that discussion yet, so I'll start with the other questions first. My man of the match, I think I would agree with a lot of the points, Amy, that you made there as well about Neves. I thought he was brilliant. I thought that he actually looked like getting forward a little bit, which is nice to see that side of him again. He almost seems to have really locked down defensively. I know lockdown's probably not the word used in the world right now, but he's really locked it down defensively since we've come into the Premier League, and he's really stopped a lot of those offensive and attacking runs that we really learned to love in the Championship. We almost had a little bit of a replay of the magic goal there that didn't we in that second half?
The Derby goal. It was so close, hit the top of the crossbar, didn't it?
I thought that was dipping in. I really did. I was out of my seat. I thought it was in, but
he's pretty quick as well. He nearly did that as well. So he did have a good look.
He was on it tonight. I think Neves to you then, mate.
So no, actually, all of that being said, my man of the match is going to be Neto. I thought Neto actually looked like he wanted to score and he wanted to get into it, and I've always been somebody who likes to get a little bit feisty, right? And I like to see that fire in players, and he's the one who did that again. The only one who seemed to be running around, chasing the ball around, even after it goes out for a throw. And you just want it, like we all want it. I don't understand why there's not that urgency being put forward immediately. We showed that we can come back from being a goal down. We responded really, really well for the next 30 minutes, obviously tied it up and should have took the lead really in the first half. So I want more play like that. I want more play like that out of Neto. Semedo did it last match, didn't do it too much this match. So Neto would be my man of the match. Overall rating, for the entire team, I think I'd sum it up like the rest of the season. I'm somewhere between a 6 and a 7. It all looks so good. It all looks so promising. It all looks so creative, and there's a lot of flair going forward. And when we're in the back and we're defensively solid, we keep a really nice shape and play really well. But then there's just these moments, and we just switch off offensively and coming back, screaming, "Stop the cross" for the second goal. Like, stop the cross, step into it.
No, absolutely. And he just came back.
If it's a header like that, fair play. But stop the cross. There's no reason for us to have to defend a header like that, because it was a great header, great finish. But don't let the ball in. Like,
Oh, no.
Even with the goal, Wolves weren't settled. That goal came out of nowhere, and you think back to Spurs game as well. That's two very quick goals, and Brighton away they conceded really quickly as well. So I don't know whether they're just taking a bit longer to get in, but there's not time for that. 90 minutes is 90 minutes, and when the clock gets going, you can't be asleep. But it's just as well they've not won since Bolly's played. So, and we had that last season when he was out, the clean sheet record when he's not there just goes, and we'll talk about up front is the obvious. There's not getting the goals in, but they weren't scoring the goals before Rao was injured. But they had Bolly up the back to keep the clean sheets, helped it.
And another big part of that, aim is it allows Saiz to get forward a little bit. I think Saiz is still doing really well in that center back position, but I think if you've got Bolly in there, that allows Saiz that little bit of freedom, and you get to see a little bit of that rashness out of Saiz that kind of drove a lot of us nuts. He's easy money for a yellow card every match in that midfield position, right? But he's also going through the gears a little bit and getting stuck in a little bit. We miss a lot of that because you're not going to get that out of Matinho. Dendoncker is big, but he's not overly aggressive. And I think we miss a lot of that when Bolly's not in the lineup because Saiz isn't allowed to push forward a little bit.
Well, Aiden, absolutely some great points that you've made there, and you are officially our first guest on our first Extra Time show. Up there, I think it's snowy Ontario, isn't it?
Very snowy, very cold. We're actually in the middle of an ice storm right now, so I just skated down my driveway to put the garbage out.
At least said that after that one result, the other thing when you couldn't do the international fan, he went, I just can't do this. So I still put it thing.
2020 was a heck of a year, and to finish it off or to start 2021 like that was just like,
I've had
very, 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 very little patience left in my heart these days. Football's supposed to take that away for me.
A brilliant first guest, mate. Look out for the international fan reaction coming out tomorrow, and thanks for continuing to contribute to that. And let's hope the next 2 weekends we can get some retribution, because it's funny how the stars have aligned. We've got West Brom next weekend and then Chorley the week after. Yeah, these stars align. Thanks ever so much, Aiden.
See you guys.
Cheers, buddy.
Take care, guys. Cheers.
Take care, mate. Bye. So there we have it. That's Aiden from Ontario in Canada, our first guest. Some great points that you had to make there. Do you agree with Aiden? I was just going to add some comments coming through. There's quite a few people that were really impressed with what he had to say. And Amy, Ben Whitehouse says playing 5 at the back will give us some results, but I can't see us getting to the Europa League through league qualification. I think that's fair to say, don't you?
I mean, that's very fair to say. And I think from my point of view, with what we call transition season and everything that's gone on, we have no expectations for them to get into Europe, and I don't necessarily know if it'd be the right thing considering where we're at the moment.
I think most Wolves fans will understand that it is a transition year. Hopefully we'll be stronger for next year. What with the short break at the summer, the short squad, the injuries. At the moment, it's a bit depressing because we just can't seem to.
I think it is depressing, but they're not far off where they were points wise last year. They're only 2 points different off.
They were before tonight's game, yeah.
And also, I just always think back to that period when we first came up, 2 seasons ago, and we had 1 point out of 7 games, I think. And then we had that Chelsea game, and it all just turned. The whole season just turned. And I think we speak after the game in quite a frustrated state. And my aim is to try and be not too negative about it, because there's a lot of negative things going on in the world at the moment. So we don't need Wolves to be another negative thing.
Yeah, just keep off Twitter.
I think
I'm saying you should get Twitter, but no, I don't know. Sometimes there can be a lot of negativity on Twitter.
That's social media, isn't it?
We're going to bring in our next guest now, who was second on and is on my list from left to right. And that's going to be Jason Guy, top bloke. as I say, runs the Always Wolves, not the Always Wolves, the the Wolf Whistle podcast.
You run that, Dave,
There you
not
go,
me.
Jason. Welcome to our show, mate, and glad to have you as our first UK-based guest on the show.
Good enough for me.
Just, mate, just give us your thoughts straight off. Tell it how you're feeling right now.
I just think it's frustrating because we're getting into this regular occurrence of obviously conceding first. And when that happens, and the earlier it happens in a game, the game plan is just completely out the window. And I think that's part of the problem. And then we're just constantly chasing games. Now, the lad Silver up front, you can say what you want, you know, oh, he's got a good touch, he's one for the future, all this. He's 35 million quid, 47 million euros, right? That's a lot of money. And for that, there is no end product. I don't care what anyone says, no end product. And the answer is not Patrick Cutrone, because we had Patrick Cutrone last season. And, you know, to be fair, what did he do when the fans started getting on his back? For me, Patrick Cutrone is like Vioganea, right? And all the fans loved him because he puts 100% in and he runs round and he gesticulates when he misses and you can see the passion. But ultimately, strikers get judged on goals, not all that. So would I put this all over Twitter? No, I wouldn't, because I don't like to be too negative and, you know, everyone comes at you, etc. But I just think it's a fair point to make that we are missing Raul Jimenez hugely. Is the answer Patrick Cutrone and Fabio Silva? No, but it's just increasing pressure on Raul Jimenez when he comes back that we're just going to expect him to be the player he was instantaneously, and that is not going to be the case. So, you know, I'm not one of these fans saying spend money, chuck money at it. I'm really not, but they do need a striker. That's evident. And, you know, we've got to forget all about Europe and, you know, top 6, top 8, all that. We just got to forget all about that. Yes, I understand it's a season of transition. And we've suffered cruelly with injuries to some key players. But for me, you need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. And, you know, Silva's not the answer and Cutrone's not the answer. But that's my opinion.
So who would you like to see as what is the answer then?
Well, I haven't got the answer, Dave. That's the thing. I mean, listen, when people put that on Twitter, there's all these strikers mentioned and, you know, some players that I've never heard of. It's not really for me to say in as much as, you know, all I know is that the players, the strikers we've got, I should say, aren't doing it. I don't, you know, a game like tonight, it wouldn't have been bad, you know, giving some of the youth a chance. That Corbeau, for example, I'm not saying he's anywhere near it, and we don't know.
Player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a proper player. He is.
Is he gonna be doing any worse than Fabio Silva? No, he isn't. You know, Fabio Silva. Well, he's got the penalty. You know, that's it. I just can't. You know, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going in on him completely here. You know, once again, he might be one for the future, but when you spend that much money, you need an impact now. And I don't think we've really got time to wait. But that's my opinion, Dave.
Well, there's a chap here, Neil White. He's saying Corbeau is better. So he's kind of, I'm guessing he's agreeing with you. I mean, I don't know what you think, Amy, in terms of the Fabio Silva. It's a big price tag. I think if it had been brought for sort of 15 to 20 million, people would be a bit easier on him. He's 18. You can see he's got a lot of technical ability. He did get in. He does seem to get into the right positions, but like you're saying, Jason, 2 headers in 2 consecutive weeks in the 6-yard box. He doesn't finish. Raul would have probably buried those. Would you agree, Amy?
Yeah, I think he would. I think, like Jason said, the comparison to Raul, what everyone, because a lot of what you see, a lot of people online and stuff, they are comparing him to Raul, and I think it's quite. You can't compare him to Raul because he's not Raul, and he was never okay. The 35 million price tag is hefty if you're someone that can't deliver, but there are elements, and I get that side of things, but there are things that are frustrating where an out-and-out striker should have scored. And I mean, I can't play football. I can watch it, but I can't play football. But it's unforgivable for a striker position to not be netting those. And I don't know what the answer is. And he has been thrown into a situation that no one expected him to be thrown into. But we said on the podcast before any of the rail injuries happened that it was very worrying that there was when Jota went, and I don't want to get into Jota leaving because he's gone, but there was no other kind of options up front. And if you look at the goals that were scored last year, Doherty buried a few, as he nearly did the other night for Spurs, and we've lost that as well. So there was a lot more options on the strike front. People are crying out for Dendoncker to score a goal, but he only scored one last season, or was it two? One, I think it was one in the league against Villa. So he's not a goal scorer either. So I think there's a lot of frustrations, but I agree Fabio's not the answer. And when Cutrone came on tonight, I didn't even notice he was on the pitch, to be honest with you. So it's just a whole level of frustrations, and I again don't know what the answer is, and I'm not going to pretend that I know the answer because I'm not a football manager. So I mean, I just hope that Fabio can get a goal soon, and that's the catalyst for more. And I think
he nearly got one, didn't he? I mean, he got in the right position.
Every game it's like,
listen, those two headers he's missed, they're point blank headers. A centre half's going to score them. A centre midfielder's going to score. Rui Patricio would have scored them. If you get in them positions, yes, it's great getting in that position. He's got to bury them. He has. And this is why the pressure's on him, and then it adds to the price tag. And 45 million for Jota is good business. It is. You can't deny it. That's good business. But it's not good business when 35 million of it's gone on Silva.
Well, I'm just to let you know, we've now got over 110 people that's currently live watching. So if you've just joined, thank you very much. Now up to 113. Into the Woods, basically saying, well said, Jason. Neil White is saying even Ronaldo at 18 was learning. And Chris here is saying a lone striker. Is that the answer?
Personally, I think that clearly, I've just said it, all along, Silva isn't the answer now. It's all right saying he's only 18, but we're playing him at the end of the day. And if he's getting played, obviously people think he's good enough. And people expect him to produce. Maybe a striker.
Oh,
where's he gone?
He's gone.
Oh, he's gone. He hasn't been kicked out because he's been pretty good. So I think maybe his connection. He'll probably come back in a second. I'll just try and find out. Amy, just whilst I'm doing that, mate. Just he's back. Here he is.
Sorry. Yeah.
What happened there, right? I definitely
don't know what happened. Maybe bring a striker with a bit of experience. I think we want someone who's going to hit the back of the net. And listen, playing for Wolves, a centre forward in this league, it's always going to bring pressure. And I just think that's too much for a young man in Fabio Silva, in my opinion. At 18 years of age, he's nowhere near it.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Jason. I think the experience that they're lacking, because you think that
lean forward a little bit because you're cutting out. Yeah, just to take. Yeah, that's better.
That's better. I think it's just experience, isn't it? Experience up front in the Premier League is what they're lacking. But we heard the rumours at the start with cost rumours, etc. But I've not heard anything, and you can't take the rumours seriously anyway half the time, because until it's a done deal, anything can happen. But I think I was more confident before they brought Cutrone back that they might get a lone striker for the end of the season. But now he's back, I'm starting to think that they might not. But I don't know how the season's going to look if they don't bring someone in.
Vibes93, shout this out to you, Jason. Luka Djokovic from Real Madrid.
I don't know, mate. Like I said, it's difficult. Listen, I think you've got to look at Everton. Someone like Richarlison, I think he's a great player. I'm not saying he's come to Wolves or he's available, but I think Richarlison's a great player. He's one where he gets in good positions. Good in the air, good with his feet, technically very good. We're probably asking a bit too much, but you know, I just think with that 35 million quid, we could have done, in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing. I just think we could have done so much more, and that's a bit of a frustrating thing now. You know, Fabio Silva could perhaps leave the club at the end of the season without never playing in front of a crowd, because how many chances is he going to get? How many chances is he going to be given?
Well, I think, Jason, probably Fabio's a long-term project, isn't he? I mean, he's on a long contract. Obviously, this year it was never the intention, but as I think Amy mentioned, we've talked on the Always Wool podcast a few times about if we lose Raul, what's behind it, and we'd have concerns because Raul, he does everything. He holds the ball up. He's got the little touches. He's strong. He's got a shot on him. He can volley it. He can head it. He's the all-round striker. And when you lose his quality and confidence,
we have been very, very lucky with Raul Jimenez, just like we've been very, very lucky with injuries over the last 2 seasons. And I understand that Nuno likes this small squad, and these small squads are great when you don't have injuries. But now we've got injuries to 6 key players, and that really is key. And it's okay saying about all the transition period, and that's why we're not, you know, getting the results, etc. But the reason we're not getting the results is we've got key players out, and we've got very little in depth.
Absolutely. And before you go, Jason, do you want to give us a performance rating and your man of the match tonight?
Performance rating, I'm going to say 6 out of 10, and I'm going to say man of the match for me, Ruben Neves. I mean, you know, there was some glimpses of that old Ruben Neves magic tonight. It was good to see him score inside the box because he never very rarely even gets a touch inside the box. And I think for me, Ruben Neves does so much defensively as well, not just, you know, going forward. And it's great seeing the spectacular 30, 25-yard shots. However, I just think he does so much defensively as well. So for me, man of the match tonight, Ruben Neves.
And one final question before you go, which Martin King brings up, and I mentioned in my instant match reaction straight after the game. Do you think Cutrone should have come on earlier? I felt that because he came on with about 15 minutes to go against Palace, I don't think he's fully match fit. I thought that Nuno might bring him on with about half an hour to 25 minutes to go. Yeah,
I think, listen, if you're a striker and you come on for 15 minutes, it's always difficult to try and get up to pace in a game and make an impact. And I think, look, he's got to be given longer than 15 minutes. I don't really rate Cutrone personally, and I would have preferred to see Corbeanu given a chance and just, someone with a bit of rawness. I just think Cutrone's had enough chances. But the reason everyone's calling for him back is because we've got little other option, and I get it. But listen, if against West Brom on Saturday, if he scores and we win the game, it's different. You know,
he'll have all the pizza and pasta.
And I'll be singing it louder than anyone. But and listen, Saturday, and I don't say this, it's a must-win game. It really is. We can't go there and have a scrape a 1-1 draw or even the unthinkable. We can't do that. The next 2 games, we can't concede first. We've got to score first, get at them, get loads of goals, and get some confidence for the running. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I do think, and I think if we'd have won this game, it would have took a lot more pressure off the game against West Brom.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure anyway, and I hope that players understand what Saturday means for starters. Yeah. And there's just that added pressure of the history, but also because we've not won in so long, I think it's a must-win game anyway because of it is what it is. But it's more of a must-win game because we've not won since Chelsea. So there's well in the league anyway. I know we won in the cup the other day, but I mean, I'm not going to sleep till Saturday now, so we may as well keep the conversation going.
Listen, Dave, if we don't win Saturday, don't call me back on Saturday, mate.
No, that's going to be priceless, mate. I'll book it. You're booked. Regardless, we'll get you back on.
I'm gone.
I know. Can you imagine, Jason? Absolutely brilliant. I say this new
thank you.
We've got tonight.
Good work, both of you.
Thank you, and we'll look forward to getting you on again. And thanks for staying up so late tonight for this initial extra time because it is late.
I'm on the night feed tonight, so I'm still awake.
All right, mate. Have a safe day tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye, bye.
Bye bye.
So there we have Jason. As I say, he does a lovely podcast called the Wolf Whistle Podcast. Interviews some old players. Definitely worth a look, and a really top guy. So we've still got another couple of people already backstage. We've got Spencer, who's a Everton fan, but he is was a Wolves ball boy. But we've got a young man all the way over in Norway. Chris from Norway. He's famous for his tankard, which won't be out tonight. So, Amy, I'm going to bring him on, and maybe you can start the interview with Chris. Let me just update the backdrop. And we're going to get Chris on now. He's waited very patiently. Spencer, thanks for waiting in the background there. Okay, Amy, over to you.
Hiya.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Dave.
How you feeling after that tonight? How was it for you, Norway?
Look, a night game is horrible to lose because you have to go to bed feeling like I feel now, like we all feel now. And getting up early for work when you feel like that it's horrendous, isn't it? I think we've all been there. It's a tough one to take. I hate losing games.
I think we all do.
I really want to be positive as if I can, but it's hard to take.
I think take in mind that I think the previous guest probably have summed up what your thoughts and feelings are anyway. And if we're trying to be positive, then if you could summarise game in a rating and your player, and then we'll move on to talk about potentially the FA Cup draw, so we can speak about things a bit more positively to end the evening on.
Yeah, sure.
So how would you sum up the game?
I would sum up the game by saying I think what cost us getting a result today was two things. One, Nuno's team selection and tactics, and two, the club's recruitment policy in general. Now,
so what the team? What was it that you disappointed you about the team selection? What would have you liked seen done differently?
Well, I didn't understand it. I mean, am I the only one recently when a game starts? I have to walk close up to the TV screen and get everything positioning right and thinking, okay, who is playing where? Because I can't be the only one who has to do this at the moment, because it became clear quite early that Fabio Silva was playing wide on the left, and then Morgan Gibbs-White was playing as a false nine, as I saw it, and Neto was on the right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was set up to fail, isn't it? It was never going to work, and it didn't work.
So do you think your confusion, do you think that led into the players and the way that they played, that they didn't necessarily know what movement they're meant to be and what formation they're meant to be playing, and could that have potentially led to the sloppy first goal? Because even though the finish was great, the Everton's first goal, the way Wolves allowed them to have that goal essentially. So do you think that confusion went down to the players as well?
No, I don't think it led to the first goal. I think the first goal was due to the fact, I mean, I thought really played well today, but I felt he lost his man for the goal personally. Again, but I think so. No, I don't think the confusion led to the first goal. I don't think the formation led, or the personnel and where they were played contributed to the first goal. I just think players were played out of position, and I just don't get the idea of Fabio Silva playing on the left and Morgan false nine. I just don't get how that was ever going to work, and it didn't, did it?
No, I mean, I feel Gibbs-White did create a lot in the first half. I feel like his movement on the ball was quite surprising, really. For me personally, anyway, I thought he came in and he kind of controlled that midfield alongside the others more than I expected him to. He's coming back from Swansea because he's not being fit at Swansea. So personally, he might have been played a bit out of position, because I see what you mean at the first, but I did think they led back to Silva playing more in the middle as the half went on. Silva for me was playing a lot deeper than he should have been playing for a forward. But I think that comes to the way that Wolves are playing at the moment. So I do think that the formation is potentially a little bit off at times, and I think that comes with them settling, and like we've said before, the injuries, in and out all the time, that it's for us as fans confusing to watch, because the lineup, we were so used to it being a consistent lineup all the time, and now it's just constantly changing all the time. So I think that's probably where it comes to. So in terms of your other frustration, which was recruitment, anything else you'd like to that, apart from the 35 million price tag, which I think we've all discussed enough? So anything other than that?
It's not so much his price tag. It's the fact that we've recruited for the future, but ignored the present. Now, so who have we recruited? Okay, Fabio, it's been talked about. I'm not going to go into it again. Jason, Aiden said it, and you guys have said it. I ain't going to say nothing about that. There's just no point. Okay, now Vitinha is another one. He's not ready. We've seen him. He ain't ready. So those two we spent a lot of money on, and they're not ready to contribute pretty much anything at the moment. Whereas we need something now. So that's what I mean by recruitment. There's two big.
Are you in the camp that they need to quickly get in a loan signing for the rest of the season in just the striker position, or in another position as well?
I'm in the camp that we need to get to 38, 40 points as soon as we can, or else we could get dragged into a relegation fight. And I don't say that lightly, but I'm really bit worried about it.
Are you worried or concerned? Is it concerned or worried? Are you kind of at the concern stage? Because I'm at the concern stage, not the worried stage. Or are you at worried?
Yeah, stage. Yeah, I'm at the concern stage. I would concur with that. Yes, I think I would like us to go and get in some kind of striker. But the fact we've brought Catrone in and we've tried to integrate him straight away, as we have, leads me to believe that they're not going to do that.
I think that's a fair shout at the moment. I think they've spent like you say. I think it's hard on Silva because he is a young lad and it's a lot of money. But we're in a pandemic. They can't afford Costa. But do you worry if we don't bring someone in, it could cost us big time?
Oh, if you're asking me if you think there's a likelihood of us getting relegated, then I don't really think that. But you watch Silva today and the other games he's played. God, let's be fair, he's trying hard, isn't he? He's really trying hard.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But my God, isn't it a painful watch? Just before Everton scored, did anyone notice? He kind of got. It was on the right actually. He got a long pass to chase, and he was too exhausted to chase it. And,
when he hit the ball at the front, you just thought if Adama Traore would have been there, he'd have gone past him, boom, and he just didn't have the energy.
And the ball got up with Ren, everything got a corner and scored. And look, another one on Nuno is that it wasn't working with Fabio, and he should have been taken off a long time before for Catrone. I think the other guys, Aiden and Jason, spoke really well, and I totally respect what they say. I'm going to slightly disagree with Jason regarding Catrone. I'm not sure he's been given that many chances. I've not given up on Catrone, personally.
Yeah, I think you need to be given more time, don't you, Amy?
Yeah, I think we're trying to give it enough time. And just back to the point about it's risky, isn't it? We talk about the pressure on Silva, and he's in a position where he's in a lot of pressure. But then bringing a striker in on loan that has come in purposely to score goals is still another pressured situation. So kind of whatever happens is you put in a price tag, someone comes in, and that's a pressure situation when things need turning around. But we could all be sat here on a Saturday and they score 5 goals and beat the Albion 5-0, and we could all be in a completely different conversation and forgetting that this is never going to happen. So I think it's just a goal needs to come from somewhere for a catalyst of more goals, and I'm hoping that can happen on Saturday.
Amy, we ain't going to score 5 goals on Saturday, and we ain't going to score 5 goals against anyone because it's not in this. It's not in us. We don't have it in us. We might win on Saturday, we might win against Chorley. We'll not be scoring 5 goals. And I'd love to be wrong, but we haven't got that in us.
I mean, I'm not being serious. I'm not being serious in the fact that I think they're going to score 5 goals. I think
there was a team to score 5 goals against. It would be Albion.
Oh, we'd love to score 5 goals. It isn't in us, is it? Unfortunately, and we have to factor in the fact that the injuries. But is that 6? We would definitely have started today. Are injured. These are mitigating circumstances, aren't they?
And I think it's, it goes for me. This, and we can, blame. Well, I don't like to blame things, but I think we have to look at outside circumstances. Wolves had the longest season ever last year, and they had 3 weeks off essentially. And we can say that the professional footballers, and they get paid an arm and a leg to do what they do, but the human body can only take so much. And I think it's what has happened to Wolves is their bodies have just got pushed, and they just need the break. The players need the break. They're all players that played every game, and unfortunately, that's just the hand that they've been dealt. And they've always had the strategy to have a small team, and it's just backfiring at the moment. So it's just the cards that have been dealt, and hopefully we'll find a way around. And we talk about concern of relegation, and when you see the latest performance in terms of points, it is relegation performance. But I think there's 3 worst teams, and I don't think it's going to come to that. But it does get in your mind a little bit, doesn't it, when you can't deal with anyone.
I would look. I don't really think we're going to get relegated, because there are 3 worst teams, as you say. We got some good amount of points early on this season, not by playing particularly well, but we got them anyway. I don't really think we're going to be relegated, actually. Look, I can probably take, as Dave said, a season of transition, as long as there's something going forward. But please, can we stop recruiting for tomorrow? We've got enough for tomorrow. We need something for today.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing, isn't it, Chris? If we can get the players back, maybe have a run in the FA Cup, and that's something that we can, if we can hopefully get past Chorley, get a home draw, we could be in the quarterfinals. We could have and get the players back. We could have a strong end to the season, which would hopefully give us the momentum if they invest well in the summer, and we, keep the key players, get like the Ottos, and Raul Jimenez is back and Pedent's back, because you've lost Pedent. Neto looked dodgy tonight. You lost Traore tonight and Raul Jimenez. That's 3 out the front 4 that are not even in the team. We can do that. Then and the next season, I think we could have a really fantastic season next year. Chris, before you go, look, by the way, I like your International Wolves fan T-shirt, mate. Top man. Thanks for getting that. Just before you go, your man of the match and your performance rating out of 10.
Man of the match, Neves. I concur with everybody else, agree with everybody else. I thought it was great, as it has been for the last couple of games, actually. And performance rating, with what we had, I'm going to give it a 7. With what we had,
okay,
wasn't that
You're
bad.
being quite positive tonight for you, Chris.
Are you saying I'm negative generally?
Sometimes you can be. You can.
I played defeat badly.
Hopefully at the weekend we can get the tank card out.
It has to come out. There's no alternative. There's no alternative. Big couple of games now for historical reasons. We need it.
We do, mate. Let's say listen.
And motivation.
Yeah.
Chris, thanks ever so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you joining me and Amy on our first show.
Absolutely. Love the project. We'll continue to support it the best I can.
All right, and you have a nice evening, and you can get to bed now.
Yeah, I'll try and avoid that if I'm honest. I need to calm down a bit. But anyway, yeah, okay, great to be part of this today.
All right, Chris, take care.
Yeah, thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. So, what did you think of what Chris had to say? Just before we get on, and just ask Amy that if you do want to get involved with this on the live with us, all you have to do is send a message to the Always Wolves Facebook page. The link is in the description below that you can click on your phone or on your computer. Just drop a message, and then we'll send you the link to how to get onto the show. And if you're interested in getting on for the aftermath for the baggage game at the weekend, send us a message in advance and we'll line you up, because I'm sure that's going to be a popular show to get in on. Amy, you didn't give what was your rating and what did you think of what Chris had to say there?
Back to his first point in what I think this summary of his confusion of what the lineup is and what the formation that's being playing, and I think that probably comes back to that. For 3 seasons since Nuno arrived, the formation has always been the same. So that's, I think, as fans, we're getting used to them playing different formations and seeing what works, what doesn't work. And that comes to the point of the fact that because of the injuries, the lineup is constantly changing. So it is going to be a little bit unsure of what the lineup should be. But I do agree the 3 at the front with like Gibbs White was when I saw it come on the lineup. So I was a bit confused.
Concerned. Glenn Hartley from Everton Arsenal said, would you be interested in taking Giroud and Nketiah on loan? Interested to find out.
I mean,
Giroud,
isn't it? That's how you say it. I'd be quite keen on him, to be honest. I think the other, who was the other one that said? I'm not as much
Nketiah
on him, but
Giroud, yeah.
Giroud, I'd definitely take Giroud. I think he'd be interesting, and I think we've said this a lot, and it's different. It's difficult, isn't it? Because if it had been 1-1, we'd have been having a very different. I mean, I know that's the way that football guys would have been having a very different conversation, and there's probably wouldn't maybe be as much on Silver. I don't know, but I think it's what was I going to say? We keep talking about Fabio and the 35 million price tag, and I just think it's been paid and we're not responsible for that. It's frustrating maybe that it was the future investment, but in 3 or 4 years' time, he might be knocking in 40 goals a season and he's then 200 million. So that's very, very good business, isn't it? But we do need someone now, but then it also, the pressure of bringing someone in at this stage of the season, it's never good. So we can go round the houses and around in circles and everything, but I think today it was just frustrating. And like I said at the start, it was just numb because Everton didn't. I know we're going to bring an Everton fan on now. I don't think Everton deserved to take all 3 points.
Well, shall we see whether Spencer agrees with your comment on that? So I think we should get him on. He's been waiting very, very patiently. A top young man. And here he is. Spencer, welcome to the show, mate. And you're now living it. Look, you can see he's got a Wolves shirt.
Fan. Who is this?
Spencer, tell me your backstory.
That was the signature one that I got given off the foundation before I left.
Oh, right.
So,
can you hear me?
He's a ball boy at Wolves for how many years?
I think it was 3 years.
Oh, and we still couldn't convert you to being a Wolves fan. That's sad.
Well, you kind of are when you're not playing it. When we're not playing Everton.
Yeah, you could agree to that. Yeah,
I think you're an Everton fan. Is that right? If how would you describe it? If Everton are playing Wolves, you're supporting Everton. Is that right?
Yeah. But yeah, I did keep it. I did keep it mutual tonight. To be honest.
Do you think a draw for me tonight? A draw would have been a fair result. I
think that last goal from us was lucky, but it was well played.
I mean, and I to be honest, I can't argue with that. I can't dispute that because I think you took the chance well. You got a good cross in, and Wolves were at fault. They probably should have played the ball out a little bit better if possible. But Everton took took their chance, didn't they? At the end of the day, and if it was Wolves on the other side of it, you wouldn't, you couldn't fault them for that. So,
well,
yeah,
I mean, the stats are there as well. I mean, like Wolves kind of outplayed Everton on the pitch.
Yeah, they had more, especially in the second half, and I think that's from the Wolves fans and yourself included. If you look at it from a Wolves perspective, is Wolves had held the ball in the second half. I think the first half it was very end to end, but the second half it didn't really leave Everton's half. It was just Wolves playing around with it, but they didn't do much with it. And down the other end, Everton had the one chance almost and scored it. So they just took the chance. But I think, I was quite nervous for the game tonight because from what I've seen of Everton this year is they've looked really strong from what I've seen in games that I've watched.
I'm shocked by Everton's performance, to be honest. Like I never expected the season to turn out like this.
Is that off the back of last year being quite up and down?
Yeah.
You're on a good run at the moment, aren't you? I mean, you're in the top 4 now after tonight.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the season's going to pan out from here for you? What's the Everton's fan base expectations?
I think it's just stay where we are. Like, don't make too many mistakes and just try and aim for that top 4.
Can I just? I just want to put Mr. Widden right here. He says you're having a laugh, Wolves fan now, an Everton fan. Let me just get this correct for you, Mr. Widden. Spencer has always been an Everton fan. He lived in Wolverhampton. He was part of the Wolves Foundation, and he was a bull boy for Wolves, which is how Wolves became his second love. So please let's have a little bit of respect. He is an Everton fan, but he had a love for Wolves because you had a lot to do with the foundation.
I still do.
He did a lot of community work and charity work down at the Wolves, and he was a ball boy at the Wolves every game. So that's why you've got an affection for Wolves, right? Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
You are Everton first and foremost, but you've grown to love Wolves because of your work at the foundation.
Yeah.
So what were you most impressed by from Everton tonight, Spencer?
Can't hear you, Amy.
I can't hear.
What were you most impressed with by Everton tonight?
The way that we managed to get a win without any strikers.
I mean, us as Wolves fans could probably say that as well if it had happened on the reverse side.
It was 2 teams playing without any strikers tonight, to be fair.
I'm pretty surprised where the first goal came from, to be honest. Like I just didn't understand how it happened, like just how quick it happened, to be honest. But that's football, I guess.
I think we all felt that same. I think especially after Wolves' recent run of kind of conceding goals quite early on, it was like, here we go again. So yeah, so it was quite frustrating. But anything in terms of who was your man of the match, you can say a Wolves player and an Everton player if you want, or you can just stick to Everton.
I'm gonna pick from both sides because I think it would be fair. I'd say man of the match for Wolves would definitely have to be Pedro Neto. He took on all of our defence and he just went in there. And I'd say probably for Everton would have to be Ben Godfrey. I think he played like he was all over the pitch for us and he covered positions well for other players.
Yeah. I said to my dad, I was like, oh, we'd be quite good to play for Wolves, like trying to eye them up if he could come over as well. So I think, and Everton are a fantastic, and what Ancelotti's done since he's been at Everton the last year, I don't think any of us can deny the fact that he's been a turnaround for the club really, and he's got you into a really strong position. And I thought the first half, for me especially, it was just a really good watch. It was end to end. Both teams were competitive. It's just a shame that Everton in the second half didn't seem to bring that competition out on the pitch. I thought they were just quite happy to let the ball play, Wolves have the ball, and then obviously just took the chance to get the winner at the end. So it's a bit frustrating that it wasn't as competitive for myself in the second half.
I don't think Everton were going to go all out today, just because obviously we didn't have that like attacking force, so we had to like kind of sit back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer, do you know anyone called Kevin Turner?
Yeah, that's my uncle.
Well, he's just on the stream now. I've just put him up there. He says, "My nephew," and I'm proud. How lovely is that? Thanks for joining. That's really nice, that, isn't it? So, I think
my dad was standing in the background a few minutes ago with an Everton top on. He was about to jump in front of the camera.
Is that right? That's okay. We don't mind that, mate. On this channel, we don't, as long as people are nice and fair and welcome. I have loads of fans watch the streams from so many different clubs, and they like it because we just have a bit of a laugh and a chat and a banter, and people give their opinions. As long as they're nice to each other, we don't mind. And a bit of a laugh. Well, and you have to say congratulations to Everton tonight. I think Amy's right. You stole it. Probably the stats on shots, on possession, probably didn't deserve to win. Maybe a draw, but at the end of the day, you don't care. You've got the game. It was a good header to win it. And Wolves at the end, we just had nothing left. We just never looked, other than the Neves free kick. We just didn't look like we were going to score, did we, Amy?
No, you couldn't see where it was coming from, and I think it goes back the difference between the first and the second half. I thought there was a lot more chances in the first half where you thought they were going to do something with them, but then every time it crossed into the box, it was just played in the wrong place, or it just wasn't working for whatever reason. So frustrating, really frustrating. But one last question for Spencer. I think he's going to say something anyway, but who are you supporting on Saturday?
Wolves, obviously.
You're allowed to stay then. You're allowed to stay. He's allowed to stay.
That's all we need.
I mean, it's another thing as well. Look, I don't think like Wolves fans should worry about because I heard obviously in the last one you was talking about relegation. I don't think that should be on your mind. I mean, I think you're only 8 points behind us.
Worried about it. Concerned at this point. I think it's more of a concern than a worry. I think we'll be okay, but you do have the back. If you don't pick any points up, sooner or later you're going to get dragged in. But the teams down the bottom keep losing as well. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're in a negative mindset anyway, you just overthink things, don't you? And everyone's just in overthinking overdrive, aren't they? Is that you just think of the worst situation possible? So I don't.
It was the same with Everton. A couple of seasons ago when we was with Allardyce and Marco Silva was in 18th place at December, and somehow we managed to get mid-table. So anything can happen, really.
Hopefully as well. And Amy, someone said on my stream at the end, we're worried Sheffield United won today, and I was like, they're on 5 points, we're on 22. Come on. Yeah. Spencer, thanks ever so much for joining us tonight, and it's good to see you. That you've settled back into Blackpool, and you've still got an affinity for Wolves. But fair play to Everton tonight, and thanks for representing the Everton view on this extra time.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you very much, and see you on another one, hopefully.
Yep. I'll see you soon. Bye.
See you, mate. See you. So we're just going to switch the thing back. So if you've got any questions before we finish off tonight for me and Amy in the comments, this is your chance before we finish off. And hopefully you've enjoyed this new feature. If you've got any questions for me or Amy, now's your time to ask, and we'll do our best to give you our final thoughts before we sign off, because it is late. It's well past your bedtime, isn't it, as well, Amy?
No. It was like, I'm in bed by 10, so these late night matches don't do it for me. I'm, what can I say? I'm really uncool, but it's lovely to chat and vent out those frustrations that I think a lot of us are feeling tonight. But I think we're all in, like I just said, we're all in that mindset of it being quite negative at the moment. And if we can just get the next 2 weekends, get 2 wins, I think we'll all have a lot of different feelings, and it's football at the end of the day. It's when you're on a bad run, you're on a bad run, and it's hard to see the wood through the trees, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. There's a chap here, ex-pro 1 said, do you think that Doherty's a flop at Tottenham?
I'd take him back in a heartbeat, Doherty, to be honest with you. I don't necessarily think he's playing. He's not really played much. I don't know, but he I don't know. Is it Spurs now? So I don't know necessarily say whether flop's the right word, but I'd take him back at Wolves if given the chance.
Andrew Benton says, thank you, Dave and Amy. We can all sleep better. I've got another question coming here. It's an interesting one. Adam Galkov, is Nuno's position as manager in Dana? He's an Everton fan, but I think Nuno is class. Would hate to see him sacked.
No, I don't think. I think we discussed this on the podcast that was out last week, and the club is Nuno. And I think if we took him out of the situation, we'd be in a lot worse position. So there's a lot of factors which we've discussed tonight. It's a bad run. Anyone in their working life has a bad spell. I think we can all agree that. And it's just, obviously, this is just intensified because there's a lot of people's expectation. And I think the world that we're in at the moment, people want to see Wolves do well. Well, Wolves fans want to see Wolves do well. But thank you for saying that Nuno's a class manager, and keep your hands off him because he's ours. So we're not having him.
It's nice, isn't it, when you get fans from other teams? Robert Dimmock is saying thank you to both. It's amazing contact. We really appreciate that.
Thank you for watching.
Thomas Howard said, do you think we'll sign anyone or loan anyone? And Playmaker FC says, would you take Ivo Tanic from Salzburg? I've heard he's quite good, actually.
I don't know much of him personally, but I think we're all keen for a solution. And if he's going to provide us that solution, then by all means, come on you.
And Joshua Lewis says, after the match, Joshua, I've watched the match reaction, and feel free to watch this one back if you've not seen the whole stream. It's been really good. We had some great guests on for the first one. And hopefully, if you've enjoyed this this one, you want to get involved in the next one. All you have to do is leave your details in the comment section, and we can get you involved. The Baggies match is going to be the post-match show for that. Amy, is going to be something else, I think, especially if we win.
I'm excited, or I might get the champagne if we win out. To be honest with you, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, we could see Amy with her champagne out. Mr. Whidden says, thanks for the night. It's been absolutely brilliant. Tony Southall, Amy, football managers are only good as the results. Fair comment.
Fair comment, but I think anyone that would sack anyone that thinks Nuno should be sacked, I just think who's going to come. So
Mick Corbett says, this should be a regular thing. I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Dave and Amy, for whoever took part. Well, I can tell you that me and Amy have been discussing this for a couple of weeks. I've been thinking about it for a long, long time. Amy's committed to it. She can tell she's committed to it because it's late night and she's up really late for her. So, yeah, we're aiming to make it a regular thing, and make sure that you tune in for the Baggies after-match, post-match reaction as well, because we're going to be that's going to be a good one, isn't it? And Thomas Howard, Amy, says, save the champagne.
Does that mean you think we're going to lose? So, are you a Wolves fan?
I think maybe, Thomas, can you clarify? Do you mean save it because she's going to need the champagne?
Or it's not going to be opened?
Andrew Benton says, Dr. Nuno will get it right, folks. I think you've got to keep the faith, yeah.
We could have Stale Soul back in.
Stale Soul back in, can you imagine? Kingdom of the Fungi, he's a regular on the channel, says he's really...
Lift the name, Kingdom of the Fungi.
If you want to say, Amy?
Lift the name, Kingdom of the Fungi.
It's a great name, isn't it? He's enjoying it. Tempest says Catrono needs more minutes.
I think that's a fair comment. I think we can't really judge him. I mean, we've got it. It's a new start with him coming back. There was obviously a lot of things that went on before he left. Some of the things we don't know about. So he's back now. If he can score a goal on a Saturday, fantastic.
Fantastic. Boff says, thank you, everyone. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Fantastic. I'm glad that you are. I'm sure we all have. The effort you put in is outstanding. Thank you. Jerry says, the only thing I have to say is thank you, Amy and Dave, for your dedication and time. This was awesome. Good night, always, Wolves. How lovely is that?
Oh, it's more Dave than me. I just come on and talk.
No, so. This is your bit. This is co-host you are. And then we've got Oh yeah, Gary Putney, fair comment. I think we'll make this one the last one of the night. We've just done about an hour. Gary Putney says, "What's your WBA score prediction?"
There's no way. I have a thing about predicting scores, and if it's a big game like this, there is no way on earth that I am predicting the score, because I have a thing about jinxes, about curses, like tempting fate. So sorry, Gary, but all I can hope for is a win. But other than that, I can't predict the score.
To be fair, though, Amy, you said that tonight, and look what happened.
I know, but I can't for that game. There's no way you're getting a score prediction out of me. No way. But what's yours?
Well, there you are. What happened to mine? It went all downhill after the second goal. Andrew Benton says, "Thank you, Amy. You make it better with Dave." So that's really nice. So obviously we make a good double act. We've got Mick Corbett's confident. He's going 78-0 to Wolves at half time.
You're okay, Mick. You're all right.
Oh man.
Amazing.
Joshua says, "Thanks, Amy and Dave." Armageddon's going 1-0. And this will be the last one. Tenbury Wells Martin, a top lad he is as well, says, "How much should we miss our Dharma tonight?" And thank you for everyone that's joined us tonight. It's been brilliant.
I think we did miss Dharma. I think they definitely missed the pace. And you could see where they seemed a bit slow sometimes, Wolves. And I think there's positions that Dharma would need to get into. But my friend that's an Albion fan texted me and was like, "What's happened to Adama? Is he injured?" And I said, hopefully it's just a niggle and he's going to be back to run rings around those Tesco carrier bags on Saturday.
Let's hope so. As your South Bank mate messaged you tonight.
He has, but I've not read it because I feel like it would be very negative and I didn't want to be negative before coming on here.
That's fair enough. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's joined tonight. It's been, Amy, have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been great. I feel quite alive now. I want to go out and party, not go to bed.
You can probably go out, knowing you'll go out for a 10-mile run.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, we're all going to go to bed, have a little drink and turn in. It's been a look, it won't be so late for the Albion game. I mean, it was normally these night matches started about 7:15, started at 8:15.
I know it was the schedule this year is just insane, isn't it? But yeah, we'll be a bit earlier on Saturday for everyone that anyone that can. Tom, I've just seen that Thomas had say the champagne pitch when we win the FA Cup will do something. We've not played the Albion in 9 years and we lost 5-1 against them. So for me, this is.
It's coming out if we win.
A big day.
And I will be looking forward to you having your champagne glass.
Don't you worry.
And don't forget to send me an international fan reaction in the morning when you wake up for the one tomorrow. Listen, Mick's saying good night, and I think it's good night from me, and it's
good night from me.
To like the two Ronnies and everything. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks to everyone for joining. I hope you've enjoyed this feature, and it will be back after the Baggies game. Hopefully, we'll be a lot happier and a lot more upbeat. Always Wolves, everyone.
Always Wolves.